All right. Hi, Oakland. Welcome, of course, to the 49th San Francisco International LGBTQ Film Festival. We're so excited to have you here at the screening of Sally at the New Parkway Theater. I am Kate, a member of the Frameline staff, and I am so excited to have this special post-screening Q&A with members of the Sally film team. So I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves, and we'll get into our Q&A.
Hi, I'm Lauren Cioffi, and I'm the producer of Sally.
Hi, I'm Tam O'Shaughnessy, and I was an executive producer and appear in the film too, since I was Sally's longtime life partner.
Excellent. Yeah, I was like, if you don't recognize Tam at the end of the doc, that might be, were you even here? Awesome. Well, thank you both again for being here. I guess kind of the first question, I know it's probably a bit different from both of your perspectives, but kind of how you came to this project as a producer, and then of course, Tam, kind of how this particular project came your way and how you got involved.
Sure. I came to this project through the director, Christina Costantini, who I had really loved her work. I loved her last two films, and I just thought she was a really bold and innovative storyteller. So she came to me because I'm a queer producer as well. And I just wanted to kind of be an eye to help shape the queer narrative of the film.
And I came to the film when I got a call from, excuse me, one of the co-founders of Story Syndicate, the production company. And he told me that National Geographic Documentary Films wanted to do a documentary about Sally and also about our relationship. And I really liked him. I love National Geographic. And then when I met Christina and Cioffi, I just knew we had the right team. So I was all in.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's always great when you can just feel that connection immediately. And yeah. I'm sure you've been approached to talk about Sally many times. So it's great to hear that that was the right fit. I guess, you're sort of, Tam, like the narrator of the project and really kind of guiding us through personal life as well as, Sally's career and legacy. Was that sort of always the vision for the project, or did that kind of come about once you were all kind of assembled and sort of talking about it?
I think that National Geographic had that vision. But I also think that, and Christina as well, but I also think that the way it ended up, the way the story evolved, just kind of happened during the creative process. So I was never expecting to play such a large role in the film. I'm very proud of the film, so it's okay. It's great. And yeah, I mean, I think that's, Cioffi might have more to add to that.
Yeah, maybe I would just add that I think when Christina and I met Tam and we realized what an incredible storyteller, and she just was able to recount so many amazing details that allowed us to see into Sally's interior world, that we knew that she would play a larger role in the film.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess maybe dovetailing on that, were there any kind of unique challenges that came up with this project? I mean, I think sometimes with documentaries, when you're working with, archival material and interviews and trying to really capture the person that you're talking about, but in this particular project, were there kind of unforeseen things that came up?
Yeah, I think every documentary has its own fun challenges, but I think with this film, a couple of things come to mind. I mean, on one hand, we had this incredible task of trying to unearth as much NASA archive as we could to tell this story on the NASA side, which was working with NASA, which was challenging and, under-resourced. And that was very hard. We ended up bringing in 5,000 reels of footage that we had to go through. So that was a tremendous task. And then we learned pretty quickly on that the audio and the footage was not synced. So that was a big challenge that we had to kind of go through. And when we didn't end up having audio, some of it ended up syncing manually, but some of it, we really relied on these incredible astronauts to help us tell the narrative to the audience. And then just maybe I'll say one other thing was that Sally and Tam, there wasn't very much archive that depicted their romance because, you know, it was risky and sort of hidden at that time. So there weren't that many photos. So that's sort of what led us to do the kind of abstract recreations in the film that you see. We really wanted the audience to be immersed in the romance, but there was no archive to depict that. So we had to kind of creatively pivot and come up with a solution for that.
Right.
Yeah. And I would just add to that Sally and I became a couple in 1985, and there was no such thing as a selfie in 1985. And Sally and I both were not really people who took photographs. So that's, you know, there's plenty of photographs of Sally and I, but not as many as there would be today when, you know, everything's selfie, selfie, selfie.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like, that is a great point. I know the oldest selfie I can think of is Thelma and Louise. That's about as far as it might go. I guess on the point of the reenactments, was that sort of I just wonder, as someone who was like portrayed and people, you know, portrayed in these reenactments, was it a strange thing for you, Tam? Or
the first time that I reviewed the film, and this was, you know, not too long before Sundance, you know, it was, I didn't know that there were going to be reenactments. And so it was a bit of a surprise and, you know, just sort of odd to see, you know, what was supposed to be Sally and I, you know, walking in the cliffs in La Jolla and sitting on the sofa about to kiss in my old living room years, you know, decades ago. But I've gotten used to it. I've seen the film maybe 4 or 5 times now, and I do think that they add to the story.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, as Lauren was saying, it does bring you into those moments a little bit more. And I think was definitely a really interesting creative choice. I kind of love when documentaries take from narrative films and vice versa. So I feel like this does that really, really well, which is cool. So because we're at a queer film festival, I know this has played Sundance and True False and all these other big festivals, but I guess in terms of kind of speaking directly to a queer audience, is there anything that you hope that folks kind of take away or that resonates in particular showing this doc to them?
I know Cioffi has stuff to say too. You know, I would just say that I'm just so, I was so proud to be with Sally, and I think Sally was proud and happy to be with me too. And, you know, we elected to be private with the public for our entire relationship. And because of the way Sally's basic nature was very private, she didn't talk about personal things, which is different from me. As soon as I realized I was attracted to women, I was open about it. Not with everybody, but I definitely talked to my mother. I talked to my sisters, and Sally never felt the need to do that. But I think the message of the film is just, you know, even though Sally wasn't open, she lived her life exactly the way she wanted to live it. She loved the people that she loved. And I think those are the big universal messages: to be true to yourself, not to let anybody ever try to tell you how to live your life or what you should do or whom you should love.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just add that when Christina and me and the rest of the team started this film about maybe 2.5 years ago, I don't think we thought this film would hit in the same way at all. I think we thought that maybe Gen Z wouldn't even be able to relate to this film because they have been so empowered to kind of express their queerness, which is amazing. But I think, you know, I think the political moment we're living in has kind of shifted that, and a lot more people to maybe encouraged to hide parts of themselves that they wouldn't have even a few years ago. So I'm hoping that this film can be sort of a roadmap for people of all ages to kind of see what it means to, you know, the hurt and the pain that it can cause to hide parts of yourself and still persevere.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's I'm sure, as you said, a very different moment than imagined. But yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing the story. I know for me personally, Sally and Tam were folks that, like, before I kind of had words to describe my queerness, I was like, oh, there's something that resonates with these people. I sort of get it. And so I think having folks that are so kind of accessible and public figures in our history books is so incredible. So thank you for kind of delving more into the story of your lives, and we so appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to meet you and to be on the show, and continued success with the film festival.
Thank you so much.
Sure.